They're not just going to try and survive today and contain Celtic. They want to cause some problems, which, fingers crossed, should make for a pretty open game.
Yeah, and it's no surprise. You know, Stephen Naismith is what he said when he was putting interim charge about playing the ball forward, about being an attacking side, about creating chances, taking risks. And the Hearts fans, although their record against Celtic hasn't been great, they still expect their team to have a go and try and win the game. And, you know, I've spoken about the balance in midfield, potentially, you know, try to find that personnel in the back line as well. Hearts' best players are in the attacking areas, so you don't want to, you know, starve them of any kind of service. They've got exciting players in the wide areas, they've got pace, and they've got a man up front that knows where the goal is. So it's no surprise to hear that, which plays into the hands of Celtic because they perform better when teams are open and have a go at them. So yeah, we should have a cracker on our hands.
Well, the Celtic players just getting into a huddle at the moment in a pitch that is bathed half in sunshine at the moment as well. And Zander Clark goes down to occupy the end that the small pocket of Celtic fans are in. They've swapped ends. It will be Hearts in the maroon shirts, white shorts and maroon socks, kicking from right to left in this first half to get us underway. And as James was mentioning, they have a wretched record against Celtic as well, having lost all of the last 9 meetings. In fact, Celtic's 2-0 victory here in a 2:15 kickoff in May of 2023 actually clinched the back-to-back Premiership titles for Ange Postecoglou, the 11th league title in 12 seasons for them at that stage. As we get off and underway on a gorgeous day in Edinburgh, the sun is shining, blue skies overhead. It is a little bit chilly, but it is crisp. It is lovely for football as Vargas chases the ball down the left wing for Hearts. It's tidied up and sent all the way back to Joe Hart, who quickly hammers it upfield. And I'm shielding my eyes from the sun because it's so bright, and I just saw Zander Clark down at the other end doing the same, and he hasn't got a cap on at the moment.
Yeah, I think that might change because the sun is definitely going to make its way around. It's a strange one because when the sun's out it's really quite warm, and when it goes away it's absolutely freezing.
James McFadden with us here at Tynecastle. Hearts 0, Celtic 0. Later on commentary from the Premier League at 4:30. Villa against West Ham as well. We'll keep you up to date with all the WSL action too, as Hearts win themselves a free kick on the left-hand side. And I think that the home fans were wondering whether there might be a yellow card forthcoming as well, but there won't be. It will be a free kick. Cochrane, who's back in the side today, is going to take it just down in front of our commentary position here at Tynecastle, housed about 5-10 yards behind the dugout, swung in by Lowry. It's a good looking ball as well, and nobody in a maroon shirt attacked it, and that's a bit of a waste.
That is a huge waste. It's a brilliant ball in from Alex Lowry. Celtic holding quite a high line on the edge of that 18-yard box, and he just flashes it right behind the defence. Unfortunately for Hearts, there's no one that gambles early to go and get a touch on it, because there's an awkward one for Joe Hart as well. He has to wait and see if there's a touch coming, but that's a wasted chance for Hearts.
If in the goal in the WSL, we'll tell you about it in a minute, because Hearts are on the move, but it breaks down, so we can go to Tom Gale. Everton against Manchester United.
Everton 0, Manchester United 2, Mark, and it's their former player who's come back to haunt them once again. Nikita Paris, Zelen with the cross, Paris with the header. That's 7 goals in the last 9 appearances against Everton. Everton 0, Manchester United 2.
Thank you very much, Tom. That one was a 1 o'clock kick-off. Highlights of all the games today on the Women's Football Show. That's at 11:10 on BBC One and the iPlayer. Meanwhile, Hearts coming forwards here, and the pressure has told. Well, they thought they were going to get themselves a corner there out of Carter Vickers, but instead the offside flag has been raised. So it's a free kick for Celtic.
Yeah, it's a couple of times Hearts have played that ball just down the side of Alistair Johnson, trying to use the pace of Vargas to get beyond Cameron Carter-Vickers, which is no mean feat. He has been excellent since the time for Celtic, and he did, you know, get to the ball first, and it would have been a corner but for it being offside. But it certainly looks like a tactic for Hearts to try and exploit the spaces down the sides of Celtic.
First real time that Celtic have got down towards the Hearts penalty area, but it doesn't last for long because Civic is able to swing a boot at it and get it away. Celtic, the only unbeaten Premiership team this season, yet to trail in a Premiership game as well. Just dropping the points on one occasion. Goalless draw with St Johnstone earlier on this season. Scales then for Celtic. Goalless here at Tynecastle. Spun wide by Palmer. And plenty of movement inside the area, and Hearts have switched off here. Lovely turn and in. Oh my word, that is a stunning strike. Wow, what a move. Their first glimpse of goal, and it's been buried absolutely beautifully. Well, it was Maida who played it through, and then O'Reilly latched onto it as it came out of the sunshine. First time fired, low effort. Zander Clark didn't have a chance really with the way that it bounced in front of him and into the corner, and that is a stunning goal to give Celtic the lead.
Yeah, it's a quite incredible goal, it really is. Well, good build-up down the left-hand side for Celtic. We spoke about Matt O'Reilly and the build-up to the game and the type of runs that he makes, and it's a little dart across from the right-hand side over to the left, and as the ball comes over his shoulder, he takes it first time with the left foot. It is an incredible finish beyond Zander Clark, who's got absolutely no chance of saving it, and it's a dream start for Celtic, not so much for Hearts to concede an early goal with quite a positive start as well for Hearts, but it's an incredible goal from Matt O'Reilly. It really is. Great time run, brilliant finish. Zander Clark's got absolutely no chance with it.
Well, he scored in the 4-1 Premiership win against Hearts in May of last year, the Danish midfielder, and Celtic's top scorer now in all competitions, with that number 6 for the Dane, and that one of the best that he will ever score, you would have thought as well. An absolute stunner, and Celtic have the early lead, having been a little bit under the pump in the first few minutes. The sun is now dissipated, and all of a sudden there's a bit of a chill around Tynecastle, and there's a bit of anxiety amongst the home fans as well, because Celtic have got themselves a free kick wide on the left.
Just getting a chance to see the Matt O'Reilly goal again. It's just an incredible finish. Palma comes off the left hand side, just clips a little ball towards the corner of the 6-yard box, and Matt O'Reilly gets the run, and he's watching the ball the whole time, but he has to swing, his left foot at it as it comes over his left shoulder. Such control and composure in the finish. Incredible goal.
Free kick for Celtic into a good area. Up go the heads. It's only half away. Need to get this away. Forrest for Hearts is back down towards his own penalty area. Now the bounce of the ball has worked out favourably, and all of a sudden it's Hearts who are on the move. Wide on the left, Lowry trying to hold it up, looking for some support, hoping that he might be able to prize a corner out of the situation, still putting the squeeze on, and eventually out of play for a goal kick.
That's another chance for me. The ball goes up, Rio Hatate misjudges the ball, Alex Lowry's onto it, and then he's 1v1 against Greg Taylor. He tries to knock it down in front of him and make it a race. I think if he just slows it down a little bit, takes Greg Taylor on towards his goal, makes him go back the way, then he has an opportunity. Hatate comes round and covers, and Alex Lowry's crowded out, and Celtic get the goal kick, but Hearts showing that a decent response to having gone behind.
Looking to re-establish that 7-point lead at the top of the Premiership after Rangers cut the gap to 4 as Philippe Clement oversaw that 4-0 thumping of Hibs at Ibrox in his first game in charge. Celtic have it with Maida wide on the right, motoring in towards the area. Good looking ball into the centre, but there were two players in green and white arriving. It split the difference between them, and all of a sudden the game is getting a bit stretched, James McFadden.
Yes, it is. The ball up to Alex Lowry. Alistair Johnston defends it well, gets his head up. You know that Dyson Maida's going to be able to make that run. He's got pace to burn, and it's just inside Alex Cochrane. It's a first time cross. Kyogo had made the run to the back post unmarked, and who else but Matt O'Reilly was making up the ground as well. Really good intervention from Frankie Kent, but yet the game is opening up to what we expected it to be.
Yeah, lively start to the game, and a lovely goal to break the deadlock early on as well from Matt O'Reilly, who is in fine form this term. Hearts trying to muscle their way back into it with a muscular challenge from Larry just in front of us by the halfway line, as the small pocket of Celtic fans away to our right hand side in the Roseband stand on their feet in the sunshine. That end of the ground bathed in this autumnal glow here in Edinburgh, as there's a coming together just off the ball there, and I think that Nick Walsh spotted it, has given the free kick, and Hearts just felt that perhaps it might have merited a yellow card. Either way, they are coming forwards, the home side on the right flank, now recycling into the centre circle, and wide it goes to Lowry. He's seen a fair bit of ball on this left hand side. Lovely pass down the line as well, options for Cochrane in the centre, and he didn't really make the most of what was a very promising opportunity, the fullback.
No, he didn't. Again, really good play from Hearts. It's that ball down the inside channel. It's Cochrane this time in the underlap. He gets beyond Maida. I think he does the right thing. I think he has to take it early. Potentially Vargas or Shanklin has to gamble, because it's the only place he can really put the ball. But it's another, positive for Hearts. They've gone behind here. Many people would have expected them to crumble. They haven't. They've continued to play the way that they've set out from the beginning, and they will continue to get opportunities, because Celtic's fullbacks like to go forward, like to join the attack, like to step into midfield and take the ball. So there will be opportunities for Hearts to get down the side of them, but when they get into situations like that, they have to make the most of it.
Only his second Premiership appearance of the season, having also featured against Motherwell at the start of September, has been out for almost 2 months now due to injury. Back in the side today and almost making a telling contribution there. Now down the line by Matt O'Reilly, and Maida's got to the byline and got the ball in towards the far post, and it's just a bit too strong for Palmer to keep in on that left hand side. But both defences look pretty open.
Yeah, and as we expect, we just spoke about Alex Cochrane getting in the advanced area to get the ball into the box. Celtic straight away get it down the side. Alex Cochrane is having to go all the way back and match Dyson Maida, and it's a poor cross from Maida, but it is open. Both teams want to attack, and this is the game that we hope for.
Well, we're going from Scotland to England to America today, because after this, Villa against West Ham at 4:30, full commentary of that, and then the US Grand Prix follows. The Ferrari of Charles Leclerc is on pole for that one, and Celtic looking to extend their advantage in pole position in the Scottish Premiership to 7 points, which they would do with victory here at Hearts. And with 10 minutes gone, they are leading by that brilliant O'Reilly goal to nil. A pretty aimless pass through the centre though, which is going to be gathered by the Hearts goalkeeper Xander Clark, and in the sunshine just holds the ball in his hands in his all blue outfit and just looks for an option. Seems a bit confused about what to do. Thought about knocking it short, but will just bounce it a couple of times and then punt this long upfield. Launch towards the halfway line. Lawrence Shankland can't get to that. Carter Vickers sends it forwards into the Hearts half once again. It was slightly shaky for Rolls, who has then given the ball away, and here is O'Reilly again getting away on that right hand side and then running into the challenge of Kyle Rolls. It's a throw to Celtic midway inside Hearts territory.
Yeah, he does well initially, Kyle Rolls, to deal with it, but I think he has to then find the Hearts player or clear it, because Celtic want to press you, they want to force you into situations where they can win the ball back, and they've shown they're so dangerous on that counter as well. And just interestingly, we've mentioned both players a couple of times, Dyson Maida and Alex Cochrane. Cochrane's been out for a while, but Dyson Maida's probably the fittest footballer I've ever seen. He does not stop, he never looks tired, so it'll be interesting to see how often Cochrane can get forward as the game goes on, and how much space he leaves behind.
Alistair Johnston for Celtic in towards Maida, who's overhit the pass, and it's collected by Shankland wide to Cochrane on the left. This is just inside the Celtic half as the sun once again just disappears and the shadow is cast over Tynecastle, and the chill gets up again. Ball wide from the right in towards the centre circle, collected now by Alan Forrest for Hearts, and there's an overlap on this near side for Cochrane if they can use him. Quickly those Celtic shuffle themselves back in position. It's a wall of green and white, but it's been penetrated by the ball down the left channel for Vargas to chase. Vargas down by the corner flag for Hearts, goes back to Cochrane. Slightly negative play there, could have been a bit more adventurous and attacking. Lowry tries to get it moving again. Then there's a challenge just outside the area on Devlin, which the home fans you might be able to hear felt merited a free kick. Referee disagreed. It's come back though for Lowry, who swivels and then works in towards the edge of the area, and the move breaks down, which is a bit of a shame for Hearts, because they had plenty of maroon shirts up there that now need to get back as Maida tries to latch onto a ball over the halfway line, and the pace continues to be 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, it won't relent either. Hearts have got that threat in behind. Celtic playing that high line. Vargas a brilliant time run. I agree with you. I think that it's tough for him to take someone on, but if he lays that back for Cochrane to step on and hit it first time, then the attack is maintained. But he doesn't. He takes an extra touch, then he fires into Cochrane. The only thing he can do is take a touch and start a game.
Early free kick for Celtic, which was well watched by Frankie Kent, just shuffled across and sent it out of play for a throw to Celtic midway inside the Hearts half. And the crowd already on the back of our referee today, Nick Walsh. They feel that he's let a few challenges go, and a few challenges that have perhaps meant a yellow card should have been brandished haven't led to that particular decision. Celtic this time have been wasteful in possession from that throw in, and it's gone straight out for a throw to Hearts in their right back area.
Yeah, I can understand, the Hearts fans' frustrations of Nick Walsh for not brandishing yellows, but it's such a fast-paced game. It's such a spectacle that I don't think any of the challenges have merited yellow cards. I think he's done well, Nick Walsh.
And Kyogo was making a run and would have been onto the pass if it had been played through. Instead, though, it's Vargas wide on the right, goes for goal, and Hart gets down to make a smart save. Best that we've seen from Hart so far. Snapshot that needed beating away.
Yeah, it is, and it's Vargas again providing that threat down the side. It's actually pretty similar. Hearts had a lot of success in games like this when it was Josh Ginnelly and Lawrence Shank would play a little bit deeper and allow Ginnelly to go and exploit that space. It's Vargas this afternoon, and he has been free a few times. Joe Hart, he does have to save it, but he'd be disappointed to be beaten at his near post like that. But it's extremely positive from Hearts.
Corner kick then on the right side for Hearts towards the penalty spot region, and the first time hit from Kent was charged down. There were a few half-hearted shouts for a handball in there, but he couldn't really generate enough power to get it beyond the cluster of green and white that were congregating in front of him.
No, it's in opportunities like that Hearts have to make the most of. In open play it's going to be very difficult, although they have managed to create chances, but set plays is going to be massive for them. Frankie Kent does really well to get shot away, but he's well marked by Liam Scales, and he gets the block in. But Hearts have shown an excellent response to going behind. They really have.
Maida has picked the pocket here of Cochrane, but then has ran the ball out of play as he tried to advance down that right hand side. Celtic have won all 4 Premiership away games this season. The last team to win their opening 5 on the road in the division were Celtic under Brendan Rodgers back in the 2017-18 campaign, when they won 7 in a row from the start of the campaign. And he is standing there, that almost trademark look of his, arms folded as he bellows out some instructions. He'll be pleased with the current scoreline, 1-0 to Celtic with a quarter of an hour played at Tynecastle. Taylor, under no pressure, can go all the way back to Scales. Scales steps away from the challenge of Vargas very confidently. Vargas tries to nibble back at him but is unable to do so. Palmer on the left flank for Celtic. They recycle it into the middle. Callum McGregor involved as well, and now it goes down that left hand side, and they've worked the space well here and could be in once again. They wanted a flag, Hearts don't get it. Comes across to Maida in the penalty area, has to go backwards to O'Reilly. O'Reilly loops it over, lovely pass from him, and then coming in on the overlap, Johnston couldn't quite get the contact he was hoping for, but that was a bit of a scare for Hearts.
It was, and you just mentioned Brendan Rodgers and been happy with the result. I don't think he'll be happy with how open the game is. Yeah. But just then, that passage of play, really composed, build out from the back, take your time, wait for the gaps to open up. When it comes to Callum McGregor driving inside into Hatate, Greg Taylor's making the overlap. It's excellent play, and it's just maybe under hit the pass for Greg Taylor. He has to check and take it on his right foot. But Brendan Rodgers will be looking for more of that, Celtic controlling the ball, dominating the pace of the game and trying to draw that press from Hearts and look for those gaps to exploit, which he did brilliantly there.
Here is Shanklin with a bit of room to work with. Centre of the midfield region, pokes it through for the run on the right of Forrest, and Forrest has been seen to have fouled his man down there, Greg Taylor. The home fans don't like it, felt that it was a soft one, but it was good defending, clever defending, just invited that challenge from behind, and the referee's always likely to give it.
Yeah, it's excellent defending from Greg Taylor, because Alan Forrest is quick, and it's a really good pass from Lawrence Shanklin. Again, it's that one in between centre back and full back, but Greg Taylor's alert to it, uses his strength to get back in, and he probably does buy the foul, but Alan Forrest has to. It's one of those ones where you're a winger and the shout always from the pitch and from the side of the pitch is, don't foul him, don't give him an easy out, and Alan Forrest did that.
Brought out from the back by Knowles, and then it's clipped into centre field where it's going to be picked up by Scales. Scales under a bit of pressure from Vargas, so has to go square to Carter Vickers, and now bombing up over halfway is Johnston. Johnston's ball in towards the feet of Kyogo. It breaks down in centre field, now recycled wide to the left, and Hearts have got to get their organisation right here, and it's a good step-in challenge by Sibic to briefly stem the tide, but it's scooped away towards the halfway line and helped on by Lawrence Shankland, and Vargas couldn't quite bring it under his spell, so it's back in the centre circle and recycled by Matt O'Reilly. O'Reilly knocks it square to Scales, who can just saunter up towards halfway, half of the pitch, and shadow the other in glorious sunshine now, as the ball is given away very cheaply in the middle of midfield, and Hearts will have it with Cochrane, who's played a pretty errant pass which almost turned into the perfect one for Kyogo to go through on goal unopposed. Sloppy stuff. O'Reilly now for Celtic, just inside the Hearts half. Loop forward towards Maida. Lovely touch from him. Shooting opportunity and beaten away well by Zander Clark. Edge of the area. It was travelling. He watched it well and slapped it clear.
That's a great effort. Really excellent first touch from Dyson Maida. Ball just clipped over the top of Alex Cochrane, who can't get there. Normally you would see Maida taking that touch forward, but he just checks inside first time in the half volley. Then he gets his shot away with the left foot. It's a dipping one and moving for Zander Clark. It's straight at him, but still a difficult one for him.
Short corner taken. They've switched off here. McGregor, edge of the area, goes for goal. It's charged down. And a bit of storm that they're having to weather at the moment. Now it's a fairly hopeful pass down the left channel for Lawrence Shankland to chase, but he's not quick enough to get there, and it's guided back to Joe Hart for Celtic, who lead at Tynecastle with 20 minutes played and set to re-establish their 7-point lead at the top of the Scottish Premiership. But Cochrane's won it back well on halfway, and then Palmer has just levered him off it. It's going to be a clear free kick. And again, they feel that these fouls are totting up, and Palmer didn't even really protest against the decision.
No, I mean, it's a foul, and I have praised Nick Walsh. I'm pretty surprised he's not brandished the yellow for that one, because Cochrane's away from him. I think that would come under, stopping a promising attack, because Cochrane's then 1v1. He's got a chance to cross, he's got options in the box.
Lowry's going to bend this one in, right-footed, very tight to the touchline, midway inside the Celtic half. It's into a good area, that ball. It's well defended, though. Only half away. Nieuwenhof could have had a pop at goal. And now back with Devlin. Devlin knocks it square, and Cochrane's given it away, and this could be trouble. Collected by Palmer, and there's plenty of green and white streaming forwards. It's beyond Maida, collected by Kyogo. They wanted a handball. Kyogo has it again, about 5 yards outside the D of the area. Hatate now into the feet of Johnston. Good spell this for Celtic, deep in the Hearts half, leading by that early fabulous O'Reilly goal to 0, and then the shot from the edge of the area whistles wide of Zander Clark's post. But that was a good spell of possession from Celtic. I haven't really seen too much of that this afternoon.
No, they haven't. The pace of the game's been so high that when they win it back, there are gaps for them to exploit. Normally you'd see Celtic building up and playing patiently, but they haven't really been able to do it. But anytime they go forward, they pour bodies forward. Mataray is playing right central midfield. He's popping up in the left wing area. You've got Greg Taylor going round him. You've got Hatate joining in, Kyogo peeling into the box, and Maida as well. So yeah, they look a threat every time they go forward without having any real control in the game.
Well, we got underway here at 2:15. It was a 1 o'clock start in the WSL between Everton and Manchester United, and the latest comes from Tom Gale.
Where the visitors have extended their lead mark. Everton 0, Manchester United 3. Everton dispossessed in the right side of their own penalty area. Nikita Paris with the ball across for substitute Rachel Williams to tap home. Everton 0, Manchester United 3, who got over 12 minutes of normal time remaining.
Thanks very much, Tom. Chelsea against Brighton got underway at 2 o'clock, and there's full commentary on Sports Extra later. Bristol City against Arsenal in the WSL. That's from 6:45 at Tynecastle, midway through the first half, and Celtic lead by a goal to 0 as Dyson Maida tried to scamper clear on that right side. Throw is taken by O'Reilly for Celtic. Clips it infield, and now it's going to be Hatate. Rio Hatate, no pressure on the ball, that can work it out wide. O'Reilly's not been picked up. Good area to get the cross in, goes down the line instead, and it's 2. Ball was cutting side, and Dyson Maida was there to just smuggle it over the line from close range, and Celtic are 2-0 up after just 23 minutes at Tynecastle.
It's another excellent goal. The finish is not excellent, but the run is from Maida. But the play between Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate down the right hand side, I was just spoken about Matt O'Reilly popping up on the left hand side. He's now over on the right hand side. He peels into the wide area. Hatate gives him the ball and makes the run inside him. It looks like Matt O'Reilly's going to either shoot towards the back post or put a cross in. Plays a lovely little reverse slide rule pass for Hatate, who fires it across, and Dyson Maida's in there to knock it in. It's an excellently worked goal again. It will be checked for offside, and I might have just described a goal that's going to be chopped off, but it's great play from Celtic again, it really is.
First piece of action for Andrew Dallas, who's the video assistant referee, to just inspect whether the run was made a touch too early. There was excellent interplay on the right flank, which carved it out, and it was a bit of a messy finish from Dyson Maida. He won't care, and Celtic certainly won't either if the goal stands, looking to make it 10 wins in a row in all competitions against Hearts as well. And we're just seeing a replay of it now, and the goal is good, and it is 2-0 to Celtic. And you fear for how Hearts might be able to get back into this now.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hearts have actually played pretty well. They've looked threatening in the attack. The problem they have is, Celtic attacking so much numbers that it's very difficult. I've just spoken about the goal. Matt O'Reilly's in the right wing area. Hatate's in support of him. He makes the run beyond, and Maida, who's been playing on the right, is a guy that taps it in the back post on the left hand side. So you can set up and you can have your roles and responsibilities, but when the movement's so fluid and so quick, it's very, very difficult to stop. And Celtic, they haven't played brilliantly. They're 2-0 up. They haven't had real control in the game. Anytime they've gone forward, they've looked dangerous. You have to fear that there's more to come from Celtic.
And the reason I say you fear for how Hearts might be able to get back into this game is that coming into this weekend, only St Johnstone and Ross County had scored fewer Premiership goals than Stephen Naismith's side, and that was despite the fact they'd had a fair few shots as well. Only Rangers and Celtic had more, but it's just their sort of profligacy in front of goal that has been the issue.
Yeah, it has, and I have to say the person I feel for the most is yourself, Mark, because this is a brilliant atmosphere normally. But, the more Celtic get their chances, the more goals they score, obviously the belief is going to go out of this Hearts crowd, because normally it's such a terrific atmosphere. But look, Hearts have got goals in their team. They do. Maybe not so much this season, but they've got players that can come up with goals. Lawrence Shankland, who we mentioned, can they get the best out of him to try and get a goal? And 2-0, they're still in the game. They still have to continue on the path that they were on in the attacking sense and try and limit the chances for Celtic, but they have to maintain that belief, and the next goal is certainly going to be pivotal in this game.
Well, 2-0 up this afternoon at Tynecastle. They won the last meeting 2-0 at Tynecastle in May, which clinched back-to-back Premiership titles for Ange Postecoglou, and an 11th in 12 seasons for Celtic, whose fans, the small pocket of fans away to our right in the Roseburn stand, are making the majority of the noise now, and there's a bit of a hum amongst the Hearts fans as they try to get behind their side, but need something to feed off as well, because for all that bright intent that they've shown, they've not been down in Joe Hart's penalty area for a fair while now, as we edge towards the half-hour mark, and Celtic leading by 2-0. Dyson Maida helping out his defence and slamming the ball into Nieuwenhof, and it goes out for a throw. One thing I was going to say is I haven't really mentioned Devlin or Nieuwenhof that much. It doesn't feel that there's much of an impact being made in the centre of the park by the Hearts midfield.
Yeah, and I said this before the game, it has been an issue for Hearts in finding that balance. Nieuwenhof, I haven't seen too much of him, to be honest. Cammy Devlin's a player that's all action, loads of energy. He wants to get up and attack, he wants to get back and defence. He's having to play a little bit more disciplined today, and they won't really get on the ball and dictate play. They'll be better at going and winning the ball back, maybe closing those gaps. You see here, Cammy Devlin's playing in the sitter. He goes to try and press Callum McGregor, and that is going to be an issue for Hearts, because on the flip of that, Callum McGregor, Rio Hatate, Matt O'Reilly, they're so fluid, they go everywhere, they're dragging the midfielders all over the place. Lawrence Shankland's playing just in front of the midfield. I expected that would potentially be Alex Lowry, who's on the left hand side, more of a midfielder, more of an attacking one, but then it's Lawrence Shankland's job to get on Callum McGregor and try and stop him from playing out, with Vargas the one that's playing further forward. But it's a difficult one for Hearts to get into the game, because of how good and how strong Celtic are in that midfield area.
It's the voice of James McFadden on 5 Live Sport, watching Celtic on course to go 7 points clear at the top of the Premiership again, by virtue of the fact they're leading 2-0 at Hearts with 28 minutes gone. Lovely ball from Joe Hart straight through the middle to find O'Reilly, who set Maida away. They've got 2 in the area to aim for. Kyogo's waiting. Maida's just delayed at the moment. Now plays it down the line. Looks for the return pass as well. Hearts have now managed to get plenty of maroon shirts back there. Still not enough to prevent Celtic recycling and almost getting it out to the far side and Greg Taylor. But I just think that Dyson Maida's hesitation there cost Celtic because he was in.
Yeah, he was. I think the pass potentially a little bit too wide for him. But we're just speaking about the Hearts midfield, and Lawrence Shankland starts on Callum McGregor. He then goes to Joe Hart. Callum McGregor's spare. Cammy Devlin goes late to Callum McGregor, which leaves a huge gap for Rio Hatate. Joe Hart just passes it beyond that midfield press, and then Celtic are 2 passes and they're basically on the touchline of Hearts, and that is the difficulty for Hearts. They can't go chasing it and throwing bodies forward aimlessly. They have to try and do that and measure it and make sure that they're setting a trap to win the ball back, because at the minute they're not doing that.
Dyson Maida gets to the byline, tries to poke the cross in, can't clear the first man, but Celtic looking to really strengthen their grip on this game that they're in charge of anyway, with those 2 goals. The sort of messy finish from Dyson Maida after the magnificent strike early on from Matt O'Reilly, and Celtic now have just got a bit of a swagger about them as they start to spray the ball around, although having said that, it's been sprayed straight out of play. So Celtic have scored twice here. Manchester United have been doing well at Everton as well in the WSL. Last time we caught up with Tom Gale,
where more Rachel Williams, substitute's been on the field less than 10 minutes. She's already got her second goal to make it Everton 0, Manchester United 4. Cross in from the right, the substitute with a header. United's 3rd header of the game. We've got 5 minutes of normal time remaining. Everton 0, Manchester United 4.
Thanks very much, Tom. You can see all those goals on the women's football show tonight, 11:10 on BBC One and the iPlayer as well. Half an hour gone at Tynecastle, and I had been promised beforehand, James, about the rocking atmosphere at this stadium. What is it, just under 19,000 I think capacity, obviously full to the brim with the champions in town, but it's a bit like a balloon that's been pricked by those goals from Celtic.
Yeah, it has. Listen, I don't think there would have been loads of belief that Hearts would go and beat Celtic today among the Hearts support, but they would have been encouraged with the start that they made. You know, that threat, the attacking threat, chance to get down the side. But the 2 goals have certainly, knocked the atmosphere. It is normally such a hostile place. You look at how close, the fans are to the action. It is normally hostile. It normally, it's something else that you have to deal with other than playing the game, obviously, is that crowd. But they just haven't been able to have been given any encouragement to find their voice today.
Alistair Johnston has swivelled well just inside his own half, but then given the ball away. Lowry just inside the Celtic half, goes backwards of square to Rolls, and Rolls knocks it inside of him to Frankie Kent, and he's gone all the way back to his keeper Xander Clark. So Manchester United cantering to victory at Everton in the WSL. What about Chelsea against Brighton? Becky Ives.
Chelsea won, Brighton won. Chelsea have found themselves an equaliser. It has been coming. They have peppered the Brighton net all of this first half, ever since going behind 10 minutes in. But it was a header from Soshka Nuskin that finally got them back on track. Right on the stroke of half time, it's Chelsea 1, Brighton 1.
Thank you very much, Becky. Meanwhile, it's a throw for Hearts in their right back area, which Civic is going to take, and gets good distance on it up towards Shankland, who's been feeding off scraps once again.
It has. Celtic have control now. The ball goes back just a minute or 2 ago to Toby Civic, and he just kicks it the way he's facing, out of the park. You hear that, the disapproval, the Hearts support, and Celtic now have control of the ball. They're dominating the pace of the game and making it very difficult. We spoke about Hearts and a positive start and being able to get down the sides and in behind Celtic. They haven't been able to do that for the last 10 minutes or so. And you're right, Lawrence Shankland, who just makes a foul. It's probably a frustration from Lawrence Shankland. He's going to challenge for the ball. He knows he's not getting there. It's not a horrible challenge or anything. He just leans in and gives the foul away, and that's probably frustration from Lawrence Shankland, because Hearts in the last 10 minutes have really fallen out of this game.
Yeah, he'll be frustrated with how the season's panned out for him so far as well. Just the 1 Premiership goal for Hearts' top scorer in the Premiership last season. More defending for Stephen Naismith's side to do here as well, which they have managed to do to stem the tide. And there might be a counter-attack on here, well there would have been had it not been for the interception by McGregor just inside the Hearts half, and it's O'Reilly who has it on the right hand side. Neat ball through the centre looking for Dyson Maida, doesn't quite come off. McGregor picks up the pieces, 20 yards out, then overruns it, cleared away towards the centre circle, well read by Scales who steps in, but his ball is going to come to Shankland, and he goes for the early pass down the line, but the ball has drifted out of play before it came back in, so it is going to be a throw to Celtic. Brendan Rodgers still not looking totally content, about 10 yards down in front of us in the away dugout. He was absolutely berating some of his players a short time ago after they wastefully put the ball out of play, and I think, as I said earlier on, as he actually goes onto the pitch to act as ball boy and kick it to his fullback Alistair Johnson, the scoreline's been great, the performance has been okay.
Yeah, I think Brendan's unhappy as well about Celtic off the ball. I think there was a chance where Hearts were forced back, I think it goes to Kai Rolls, and then he can play it into Frankie Kent, and Brendan's looking for Palmer on the other side to get across and try and force Hearts into one side of the pitch.
Oh, they've switched off here, and that is an awful hit from Kyogo, although he's spared his blushes by the offside flag, because he was played through inside the penalty area, had the goal at his mercy and poked it miles wide, but fortunately for him it was offside.
Yeah, and I think he may have had an inkling it was offside, because he makes his runs are exceptional, and he made the run early. I think there's a slight delay in the pass which almost goes behind him. He wants that into his path, and he maybe had an inkling that it was offside, but in any case it's a poor finish from a man of his ability.
And he's got this magnificent record against Hearts as well. He's scored in each of his last 7 games against them. Could become the first player since Mark Haitley for Rangers between 93 and 94 to score in 8 consecutive games against them. Here though is Alan Forrest. Hearts looking to get something to shout about before the break, trailing 2-0 with 10 to go until the interval, but it's broken down on the left hand side and swung away by Johnson, only up towards halfway. Cochrane now has it for Hearts, backwards of square to Rolls, and he is forced to retreat once again. And Hearts, who were on the front foot early on and were asking some questions and were right in Celtic faces, have just sort of slumped and become a bit negative.
Yeah, they have. They haven't had the same opportunities to play the ball in behind. If it's been on, it's probably more so been in Hearts half, which then makes it's easier to spot for the defenders. If the ball's coming from a midfielder or in an advanced area, it means you can get runners and try and disrupt that back line. But the one a minute or so ago, Lawrence Shankland picks it up. He's maybe 10-15 yards in his own half. It's on his left foot. It's more of a hopeful ball up the side. It goes out of play. But when you look, it's Vargas against Cameron Carter-Vickers, who'd read it, who was winning the race anyway. It wasn't even a chance for Vargas to get in behind and cause problems. It'd been dealt with Cameron Carter-Vickers, and that has been an issue for Hearts. They take the ball at the back, they're trying to play through the thirds and play through midfield. Celtic are up on it, they're winning the ball back, and they're actually exploiting the space that Hearts are leaving when they're taking those chances to play out from the back.
You may have heard some ironic cheers. That's because Alex Lowry was given a free kick by referee Nick Walsh. They think that they've been in far too short supply, Hearts free kicks, in the view of the Hearts fans at least. So it's going to be taken from deep in the Hearts half by Xander Clark, who stands up, addresses the ball and then launches it long towards the edge of the Celtic box. Shankland tried to make a nuisance of himself but was unable to bring it under his spell, and then it pings around off a couple of players, and Shankland has it, but he's going the wrong way, almost back towards his own halfway line, and nearly dispossessed in a tricky area as well. Managed to keep possession, but they're back on the halfway at the moment with Lowry on the left hand side. Lowry's ball in towards Cochrane, who loses his way. O'Reilly's back there doing diligent defensive work for Celtic, and the ball given away towards halfway, and again Hearts have been sloppy in possession and now need to get back because Celtic are motoring forwards. Palmer down the line, good overlapping run, and actually it's going to dribble behind for a goal kick to Hearts. That gives us another chance to head to Tom Gale at Everton against Manchester United in the WSL.
We're in stoppage time, Mark. Everton 0, Manchester United 5. Ball in behind, latched upon by Nikita Parris. He had to be brave, clattered by the goalkeeper, but poked home his second of the afternoon. Everton 0, Manchester United 5.
So after that disappointing result for Manchester United last time out, a comprehensive victory for them away at Everton in the WSL. Later on, Bristol City host Arsenal at 6:45. There's full commentary of that one on Sports Extra here on 5 Live. After this, it's Villa against West Ham in the Premier League, and then commentary of the US Grand Prix as well. Well, the exuberance early on from the home fans has given way to, first of all, anxiety at the way Celtic were getting on top, and now a sense of frustration with the way the momentum has gone, and that frustration has got even more by the fact that Xander Clark's played it out from the back, overhit it. Cochrane couldn't get there. It's out for a Celtic throw, and even a few boos now.
Yeah, I mean, they want to see the team attacking, and look, Xander Clark just gets the pass wrong. I think it's the right idea because the ball comes into him. He's trying to play it first time. Cochrane's in space, but he's just bending away from Cochrane. He's running back, and he's trying to get that pace into the play, Xander Clark, and he just hits it out the park. But yeah, there is a real frustration around the ground here because Hearts have offered very, very little in the last 15 minutes or so, and the crowd want to see something more in it, and it's not. They want to see them even just trying to go forward. I think when you're taking that safe option and playing it back and playing it across the side, the fans feel like that's safe. They want to see the players taking risks.
Cochrane guides it back towards Clark, who slaps the first time clearance upfield, just shy of halfway. Shanklin tried to control, was unsuccessful, gets a second bite of the cherry now as well, but again has lost it, and it's going to go out for a throw on the halfway line. Sibic will go across to take it, and the pace really has dropped out of the game. Full time now in the WSL between Everton and Manchester United. Here's Tom Gale.
Where Everton 0, Manchester United 5. Mark Skinner's side move up to third. Mallard's opener, then braces for Nikita Parris and substitute Rach Williams late on, sealing back-to-back WSL away wins. Everton 3 defeats from their opening 4 games. Full time, Everton 0, Manchester United 5.
Chelsea 1-1 with Brighton in the 2 o'clock kickoff in the WSL as well. Here at Tynecastle, 2-0 to Celtic. A special strike from Matt O'Reilly early on, and then a bundled finish from Dyson Maida after a move that O'Reilly was involved heavily in, again on the right side for Celtic, who have done what champions do best really, which is when they're not quite firing on all cylinders, still get themselves into winning positions. And now, having got those goals, they are playing with a sense of authority, and Hearts, you feel, have lost their way and could really do with half time and a chance to reassess and reset for Stephen Naismith.
Yeah, well, they could be doing it, being 2-0 at worst for them. I think that they have to show a little bit of something between now and half time. The ball's come in there. Toby Sibic stepped in from right back area. He's played a pass and beaten that Celtic press. And when it comes to Alex Lowry, he's tried to flick it round the corner first time. It didn't come off, but came back to him. And he's done it the same thing, but no one's there. So I think they have to show a threat between now and half time, or else there will be changes either to the shape, but probably the personnel of Hearts.
Down the line for the chase of Vargas here, who's got the wrong side of his man, but that's a wonderful recovery from Carter Vickers to slide in and send it behind for the corner.
That's excellent, and that's something positive for Hearts, as a ball down the side. Is Vargas using that pace? But Cameron Carter-Vickers, he just reads the game so well. He knows that Vargas is quicker than him, but he's in the right position. The timing of the tackle is excellent, but at least it's something for Hearts. They managed to get down the side again. Now they've got a corner. Can they do better than they have done before?
Well, it will be Cochrane to take. Left-footed delivery, outswinger from that left-hand side into a pretty decent region as well. Scales got a head to it and needs to get up again as the ball loops towards goal, but it's catching practice for Joe Hart, who then thought about getting it upfield quickly but has held on to it and will just take his time and then roll it through to the right side. And Alistair Johnston, who has it and goes back to Cameron Carter-Vickers. And there has been a score in the first test in the Rugby League International between England and Tonga. Richard Stead.
10 minutes gone, Mikey Lewis broke through, the Hull Kingston Rovers man, put England on the front foot. They switched to the left edge, where Toby King, who won a grand final last weekend, scores the first try this weekend, converted by Harry Smith. It's 6-0. Quick footnote, the game kicked off 20 minutes late due to a ticket scanner fault.
And you can see coverage of that on BBC One right now between England and Tonga in the Rugby League International. Just a couple of minutes left in this first half here at a fairly subdued Tynecastle after those two Celtic goals, and again groans from the home fans that they were on a attacking sort of position on the left side and then retreated all the way back to halfway. They have managed to get forwards on the right now, and it's Lawrence Shankland who is in a area where he could get a cross in from that right side, but if he was going to put it in, who was going to be on the end of it? Because he wants to be in their attacking crosses rather than trying to create them himself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at in that situation, it's a wide player, you're saying just get the ball in the box, take a touch and deliver, or deliver it first time. You're absolutely spot on. Who's he then hitting? You know, Lowry, Forrest, Vargas, none of them really imposing, none of them, you know, that physical presence that you expect will go and attack the ball.
Well, this time Celtic have coughed it up inside the centre circle, and it is Lowry who's probably been the brightest attacking talent for Hearts in this first half, who had the chance to advance but then lost his way. Celtic then give it away, and here is Toby Sibbick, urged on by the home fans. He's galloping forwards almost towards the edge of the area now, knocks it infield to Forrest, and Forrest is then crowded out by a few Celtic players. Forrest has to go back towards halfway, and once again it's the groans from the Hearts fans at the way that they have retreated from down towards the Celtic end to back inside their own half. But Lowry now on the left has overhit the pass, and again there is just this sense of frustration. One fan in front of us just stands up with his arms outstretched as in to say, what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, in this occasion Alex Lowry sees the run of Cochrane and he tries the pass. He's in the wide left area. Cochrane's made the run inside him. He's made the run beyond as well, and he's just trying to bend that with the outside of his right foot into his path. He can't quite get it right, but the Hearts fans are wanting the players to play the ball forward and create chances. Alex Lowry in that occasion does, but he overhits it and gets it wrong, but at least he's trying to be positive.
Ball pinged up towards Maida, who heads it forwards. Last few seconds of the first half at Tynecastle. Celtic leading 2-0 and heading 7 points clear at the top of the Premiership again. Lowry though swivels inside the centre circle. He's got maroon shirts up in support. Lowry's disguised pass was the wrong choice. Carter Vickers was able to intercept in the D of the area. Lowry now pokes it over the top, chased down by Devlin, and Devlin can't keep it in. It's going to be a goal kick.
It's a brilliant opportunity for Hearts. Alex Lowry getting beyond that midfield. He's got options. Lawrence Shankland's peeled to his right hand side, and it looks like he's timed his run perfectly. He's demanding the ball off him. He wants it in front so he can take a touch and get his shot away back across Joe Hart. Vargas has made a run beyond, and Alan Forrest, and Alex Lowry's got so much time. He's got his head up. He goes for the reverse. It's a difficult pass. It's into bodies. It's into trouble. And Lawrence Shankland is the pass there for me. And that's where you can get frustrated, because you're in a good opportunity. You've got a chance to play a simple pass to the man in front of you, and it's Alex Lowry trying to be a little bit clever, just gets it wrong. But that is an opportunity for Hearts to maybe get a shot and goal, to maybe give the fans something to hope for coming into half time, for maybe give the players something to hope for coming into half time.
Well, final few seconds of the one additional minute that was signalled at the end of this half, and in fact there is the half-time whistle, and you can pick up the boos from the home fans as well. It might be a combination of ire directed towards the referee as well as their own players, because after a very bright start where they really went at Celtic, they were undone by Matt O'Reilly's sumptuous strike to put Celtic in front, and then Dyson Maida was on hand to bundle in after a good combination on the right side from Celtic, which O'Reilly was involved in again. A moment of quality early on from O'Reilly, and then champions know-how has put Celtic in the box seat. Half-time, Hearts 0, Celtic 2.
James McFadden, can you just give us an appreciation of that Matt O'Reilly finish? Because strikers do tend to say, don't they, the most difficult ones are the ones that are dropping over your shoulder.
No, it's magnificent. It really is. The way the time of the run, the way to pass. Matt O'Reilly sees it the whole way, but he can't look at the goal, so he knows where the goal is, but he can't just check where the goal is. And the timing of allowing that to drop in front of you, to then get the direction beyond Xander Clark, the control. The temptation is to smash it and hit it as hard as you can, but he shows so much composure to put it beyond Xander Clark, who I would expect or suspect would have been surprised that Matt O'Reilly had managed to get as good a contact on it. It's a tremendous finish, really well worked goal. I spoke about him in the timing of his runs and before the game, but that finish was just superb, it really was.
Thank you very much for the time being, guys. Looks like a long way back for Hearts at Tynecastle. Second half commentary to come here on 5 Live. Then we'll be at Villa Park for Aston Villa West Ham at 4:30. We'll make our first trip of the afternoon there between now and kick-off in the second half at Tynecastle. We'll keep you right up to date with the Cricket World Cup, with that Rugby League test between England and Tonga. And we'll have more shortly on the life and times of the great Sir Bobby Charlton as well. All of that to come after the latest news with Stuart Clarkson.
Listen on BBC Sounds. This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Several hundred people in Retford in Nottinghamshire have been told to leave their homes now because of the latest flooding caused by Storm Babette. Train services are still disrupted across parts of Scotland, Yorkshire and East Anglia. In Angus and Aberdeenshire, people are returning to their flooded homes to try to assess the damage caused when the storm hit there. Ewan Clark is mopping up at his house in Brechin.
My dad phoned me at 4 o'clock in the morning to say if it was over, and I just looked around. The dog was looking at me. I looked down, it was flooded. The first thing that I done was go to the front door as you would, and I opened my front door and the water just come right in, took me off my feet. I tried my hardest to close that door, I just couldn't, and I just picked up the dog and fled for my life, basically.
17 trucks carrying aid have arrived at the Rafah crossing in Egypt, where they're being checked before they can cross into Gaza. Israel tightened its blockade of Gaza just over 2 weeks ago after Hamas gunmen killed more than 1,400 Israeli civilians. Sarah Davis is from the International Committee of the Red Cross.
The humanitarian situation for people in Gaza is dire and only increasing. The needs are increasing. We know that the medical system, the healthcare system is really on its knees right now. Healthcare providers, medical personnel have been working almost non-stop for over 2 weeks. This is not sustainable.
Police are searching for 3 prisoners who've absconded from the same open jail in Suffolk on the same day. Joshua Terry, Levi Mitchell and Aidan McGuinness were all reported missing from Hollesley Bay Prison yesterday. And a statue has been put up in the town of Bryn Mawr in South Wales in honour of rugby league pioneer Roy Francis, who died in 1989. He was the first black man to play for Great Britain, as well as the first black professional British coach in any sport.
Well, here we are again. It's been a minute now.
Cillian Murphy's limited edition is back.
Music was definitely my first love.
A nocturnal playlist with music hand-picked by Cillian Murphy.
I've been listening to an awful lot of music since we last spoke. So there'll be new stuff, there'll be old stuff, there'll be weird stuff. As well as some very beautiful, serene music. And some proper euphoric music. It's like pure sonic joy.
Cillian Murphy's limited edition. To listen, just search Cillian on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sport with Steve Crossman.
On 5 Live. Listen on BBC Sounds.
Hearts 0, Celtic 2. Half-time at Tynecastle. Second half commentary on the way here on 5 Live. India are chasing 274 to beat New Zealand at the Cricket World Cup in Dharamsala. Henry Moran.
They are, but at the moment play has paused with all the players out there because the ground is shrouded in fog. We're at about 5,000 feet elevation, and the sudden drop in temperature after the sun has set has seen this essentially cloud roll in over the ground, and we are basically sitting right in the middle of the crowd. I can't see the far end of the ground. I can see the huddle of the umpires, the 2 not-out batters and the New Zealand fielders clustered together, but it's not nearly good enough visibility to play cricket with somebody bowling like Lockie Ferguson is at 90 miles an hour. It has rolled in out of nowhere, this cloud, and it is like being in the middle of a very, very dense cloud. It's like when you take off in an aeroplane, you fly right through. It's quite extraordinary. Part of the charm, I suppose, of playing at a ground like this in the foothills of the Himalayas. As for the match, India 100 for 2, chasing 173, and a couple of important wickets for Lockie Ferguson. And as I say that, off go the players.
Yeah, I've just caught the pictures of it now. I mean, it's so thick, isn't it?
It's extraordinary, and we thought at first it maybe was something outside the ground, maybe some smoke that was rolling over. It's that thick, and it came that suddenly. And it is the visibility, you can't make out the dugouts at the far end of the ground as we look at it. The two umpires, Goff and Holbrook, are standing in the middle, having a little look around and trying to work out exactly what to do. But at the moment, no chance you could be playing cricket because you just cannot see from one end of the ground to the other. The crowd are frustrated, understandably. A reminder, and I don't think we're in this sort of territory, but you would need 20 overs per side to constitute a match. We've obviously had the New Zealand innings. India's is up to 15.4, but at the moment we are sitting in a cloud, and if we thought English cricket was under a bit of a cloud today, Steve, well, we're in one here in Dharamshala.
Speaking of England, we've got news regarding Reece Topley, yeah?
We do. It's news that we rather feared that would come out today, and that is that his World Cup is over because of a broken finger sustained in that defeat yesterday against South Africa. It was off his own bowling in the fourth over of the game. He continued to bowl right up until the end of the innings, came back on, and England's leading wicket taker in this tournament, 8 wickets in 3 matches. He's been really impressive, and he's just had such rotten luck with injuries. He stepped on a boundary sponge ahead of the T20 World Cup campaign last year, missed it with an ankle injury. He has to go home from this one now, and it's a real blow to England, who hardly need any more troubles to what has been clearly such a difficult campaign for them. And now it's a question of who's going to replace him. Not Jofra Archer, we know that. He has been here in India, but he's been he will be heading home. Decided he's not fit enough to take part in the tournament because of an elbow injury. So who's it going to be? Bryden Carse is a possibility, seems the most likely, but it really is a difficult one for England now, who will be without Reece Topley for the remainder of the tournament.
Henry, thank you very much indeed. They do world-class filling on TMS. It's some of the best filling around, I'll tell you that. So if you want to stick with the cricket, even though there's no play for the moment under that incredible crowd, you can go over to 5 Sports Extra and hear the guys there. If you're on BBC One, you'll be watching England versus Tonga this afternoon in the Rugby League Test. Richard Stead.
Sunny in St Helens, Steve. It's 6-4 at the moment, 21 minutes gone. England led 6-0 after that Toby King try, and then invited pressure on themselves. They conceded a dropout. Burgess was penalised for a ball steal on Fanua break, and then Starford Toa was able to go over in the right corner. The conversion no good, so with 21 minutes gone here at Knowsley Road, I'm going back in time, at St Helens, it's 6-4 in England's favour.
Thank you very much. Everton 0, Manchester United 5 is a full-time score in the WSL. It's West Ham 0, Liverpool 0 after 10 minutes. In the other game between Chelsea and Brighton did take a surprise lead, but that feels a long time ago now. Becky Ives.
It certainly does. Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. Sjorka Nuskin with her second of the game. Chelsea have picked up where they left off at the end of the first half, dominating possession right now. Chelsea 2, Brighton 1.
Now, fans have been gathering at Old Trafford this afternoon to sign a book of condolence for Sir Bobby Charlton following his death at the age of 86. We have a couple of special podcasts available right now on BBC Sounds. Earlier today here on 5 Live, we spoke to many people who knew him well. One of them was John Stiles, the former professional footballer and son of 1966 World Cup winner Nobby Stiles.
As kids, we just knew him as Uncle Bobby. My dad and Bobby were very, very close, and just a wonderful man, and obviously an all-time great footballer.
Tell us about Bobby the man then. You spent so much time with him when you were growing up.
Yeah, he would just come round to the house at Christmas. He'd come round with presents for me and my brothers, and my dad and Shay Brennan and Bobby were inseparable at Old Trafford. They were great friends, and when they were together, all you ever heard was laughter. Never really talked about football, to be honest with you. Just when he's one of those fellas who, when you met him, he just asked you about yourself, how you were. And I think, just was previously said, he looked upon his job as his job. That was out the way. How he conducted himself as a man was how his own values and what he thought was important. And he was a humble man, and just a blessing to have somebody like that in your life. He literally was Uncle Bobby to us as when we were kids, and he had no edge on him. And just great manners and just class, and just a very, very sad time for Norma and the family. Norma rang my mum up yesterday during the day, and my mum was devastated. And just a wonderful, special man who happened to be one of the greatest footballers the world's ever seen.
Can you remember the first time you realised for want of a better phrase, what a big deal he actually was? Because clearly nothing about the man's personality would have given it away.
I think when he was with us and my dad, and with the families, you couldn't tell. What was very strange with my dad and Bobby was when we went out somewhere and then you'd see how people reacted to them. Mm. And Bobby was the same as my dad, never talked about football. And I'm sure it's the same now for Bobby's family. Until Dad died and we saw the outpouring, we didn't really realise what it meant. I mean, there's only 2 players who won the World Cup and the European Cup in this country. And Bobby Charlton, my dad said, was the greatest player he ever saw. He could do things that nobody else could do. And really, as kids, we were protected from that by my family and what we knocked about with Bobby's family. And it was only when you saw how people treated them when we were out and the reverence that they gave to them that you sort of realised, hang on a minute, there's something very special here.
John Stiles there, the son of World Cup winner Nobby Stiles. You can hear from him and many other people who knew Sir Bobby Charlton so well by heading over to BBC Sounds. You could go back to noon this afternoon when we began our programme with 45 minutes or so talking about the great man. And there's also a programme that was recorded yesterday about the life and times of Sir Bobby Charlton, who died on Saturday at the age of 86. And all of football, of course, today is marking his passing and in turn celebrating his life. Remember, it's Hearts 0, Celtic 2 at Tynecastle. We've got second half commentary on the way. Then we'll be on our way to Villa Park for Aston Villa against West Ham United. 2 teams who've had a fantastic start to the season, Ali Bruce-Ball.
They certainly have, Steve. I mean, they're in the mix right at the top of the table, aren't they? I'm just looking at that Premier League table in front of me at the moment. Were Aston Villa to win this game today, and we know all about their home record under Unai Emery, it would take them to 19 points. That'd be a point behind Liverpool and Tottenham in 3rd and 4th, and just 2 points behind Manchester City and Arsenal. But West Ham hot on their heels. They're sitting there on 14 points. They win the game. They've got a great record against Aston Villa as well, unbeaten in their last 10 Premier League games against them. They would move a point above Villa. And I think I heard you discussing it on the show earlier on as well, Steve. We know what we're going to see today in terms of styles of football, aren't we? Villa on the front foot. They will have the majority of possession. They are a free scoring team at home. They've been fantastically entertaining this season. But West Ham equally so dangerous on those sort of rapid counter-attacks. Very happy not to have the ball. I watched them at the start of this season get that away win at Brighton. They did exactly that. So Villa are going to be aware of that danger.
And also, without wishing to kind of overplay this because it's 8 games into a new season, we do know there is going to be potentially a 5th Champions League place at the end of this season, depending on what happens. Why not for these two to dream of that? Yeah,
well, exactly. So take it from David Moyes' point of view, who's managed in the Champions League with Manchester United, who's manager of a club that won a European trophy last season, who have a fantastic record in European competition over the last 3 seasons. So they know what that's all about. And then I also heard you mention this piece that Unai Emery did his sit down, I think his first big sit down with Jonathan Norcroft in the Sunday Times, and he talks in that article there about dreaming big and setting goals high and wanting not only to be in the Champions League, but to win the Champions League. And people might sort of laugh at that from the outside, but his point being, why not set the goals high and see if we can get there? And look at his record, as a manager in, not the Champions League necessarily, but the Europa League competition. Aston Villa obviously have the chance this season to try and do what West Ham did last season. These are 2 clubs, on the up, aren't they?
Very quick piece of trivia. Which striker links Ollie Watkins to Michail Antonio outside the Premier League?
God, blimey, Steve. What a nightmare of a question.
Well, there's a reason I'm asking you. The clue is he's going to be sitting pretty close to you this afternoon.
Okay. Do you know what I was going to do? I was going to chuck his name in there. Clinton Morrison. Give me. Go on then. Give me the link.
Exeter City with Ollie Watkins.
Right.
And Nottingham Forest. No, Sheffield Wednesday with Michail Antonio.
Brilliant. Very
so we'll
good.
get into that a little bit later.
Good.
Lovely stuff, Ali. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Steve. Speak
Ali
to you in a bit.
with Clinton at Villa Park for Aston Villa, West Ham United in full at 4:30. Another try at St Helens in the match between England and Tonga. Richard Stead.
Yeah, 27 minutes gone. Tonga lead. 32-year-old Tyson Frizzell, representing his 3rd international country, having already played for Wales and Australia, has gone over. Katoa converts. Tonga lead by 4. It's 10-6.
Thank you, Richard. And remember, you can watch that right now on BBC One, or you can head over to 5 Sports Extra and hear full commentary of the Cricket World Cup match between India and New Zealand. Hopefully, that fog is going to clear and we can get back underway. Teams on their way out at Tynecastle for the second half. Hearts trailing Celtic by 2-0. Second half commentary with James McFadden and Mark Scott.
Yeah, perfect timing here, Steve, as the players emerge on to the pitch. Myself and James were just discussing at the break whether there might be any changes in terms of personnel from Hearts. I think 10 of the players are out there on the pitch. In fact, make that 11. So it is the same side that ended that first half. Is that a bit of a surprise?
Yes and no. I thought that there would either be a change of personnel or a slight tweak to the shape of the team. I think Alex Lowry has shown that he can get on the ball and he can get beyond that midfield and he can look dangerous. Vargas is going to continue to play up front by the looks of it. I thought we'd maybe see, Vargas moving over at the side and try and exploit that space and try and gather a little bit of control in the midfield area, but nothing yet. I would imagine there will be changes 5, 10, 15 minutes into this second half if it doesn't change.
And immediately Celtic on the move and looking for a penalty, and they've got one. Blimey, 11 seconds into the second half, Celtic have got themselves a penalty kick. Quite incredible, basically from the kickoff, and Hearts really are self-destructing here now, and Nick Walsh is not Mr. Popular in these parts. He pointed immediately to the spot. They will double check it, of course, but from first glance from here, he didn't have any hesitation.
No, he didn't. It was a ball down the side from Dyson Maeda, and he flashes it across. It goes behind Kyogo, who's onto it, and he goes into the challenge, gets his body in front. The issue would be how much contact there actually is. Nick Walsh close enough to give it, but this will be a disaster for Hearts. The start to this second half, they're looking for more belief to go and get themselves back into the game. If this stands, it's a dreadful start to the second half, and I think it's been given.
So Rio Hatate is stood over it for Celtic. This to make it 3-0 and effectively kill the game off, you would have thought. The crowd doing their bit behind Clark's goal, and the penalty's off the post, and that is a big boost for Hearts. It remains only 2-0 to Celtic. Hatate's effort was low and flat, and it just caressed the post and rebounded to safety, and there's a big roar from the home fans, and who knows, that might just put a bit more of a spring in their step.
Yeah, well, it has to, because it's a huge let-off for them. To concede the penalty, the players might have been thinking if this goes in it's game over, but now they've got a chance. It lifts the crowd, and I've had a little glance at the incident. I don't think it was a penalty. I think it's very soft. I think Alex Cochrane's running back into an area. Kyogo just steps across him and almost initiates that contact to try and protect the ball, not to win a penalty, to try and protect the ball. But I think that was a soft awarding of a penalty.
Well, Hearts have gone right up the other end and got themselves a corner, and if they were to get a goal from this, well, the whole complexion would have changed, and the ball towards the near post was flicked on Handley. Cochrane tries to keep it going, edge of the area. Hearts trailing 2-0, could have been 3. Hatate missing a penalty off the post within seconds of the restart. Here, though, is Lowry now with a crossing position from just outside the box, and the flag has gone up. It's offside. Well, there can be moments like that change matches. Certainly Hearts need a change from the first half. Their passing accuracy just 70%, and they ended that first half with an expected goals of 0.18, and they have been very flat in the first half of matches, failed to find the net in 7 of their 9 games in the league so far. And I just wonder if that might light the fire in their belly, because there was a sense of injustice about the decision anyway, as you mentioned, given the nature of the challenge.
Yeah, and if it doesn't, then there's something wrong with the Hearts players, because Hatate's stepping up just as the game restarts to put his side 3-0 up to effectively kill the game off. And as I said, the Hearts players standing there will be thinking, if this goes in, the game's over. It doesn't. It crashes off the post. It's a lifeline for these players. So they have to step up, they have to use it. The fans are looking at it saying, right, come on, show us a reaction. Let us see that you feel what you can get back into this game. Not necessarily win it, but get the next goal, make it uncomfortable for Celtic, and get back into the game.
Taylor on the left for Celtic, just inside the Hearts half. Infield to his skipper McGregor, who's inside the centre circle. Shanklin goes across to try and close him down. Then it's pinged over the top for Maida to chase. He applauds the idea, but it's too quick for him to latch onto, and it bounces through to Xander Clark in the Hearts goal.
But if he gets that pass right, Maida's in, because his movement's excellent. He takes Alex Cochrane's shot, and he's just so sharp to make that run in behind. And if the pass is better, he is in. And Celtic won another chance to extend the lead.
Joe Hart has the ball at his feet inside his area. Shanklin was in attendance, but Hart can get it clear, put it easily, and the ball pings around in the centre circle region, and Celtic go all the way back to Joe Hart. So let's get an update from the Rugby League and Richard Stead at St Helens.
England back in front. Debutant Mikey Lewis with a jinking run to score the try, converted by Smith. England playing about as well as they have in this game over the last couple of minutes. They lead by 2.
And you can see the England-Tonga game on BBC One at the moment as Celtic come forward once again, and surely this will be 3, and this time there is no mistake at all. Kyogo on hand to hammer it into the net, nobody picking him up. It came towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and he absolutely lashed it into the roof of the net, and that is game over surely now for Hearts, who had a let-off when Hatate hit the post from the spot, but there was no missing that. Hearts 0, Celtic 3.
The way that they're attacking, Hearts would be happy with the whistle now, I have to say. And what an exceptional goal again. You know, Celtic showing that patience. Greg Taylor back to Liam Scales. He breaks the lines, plays the ball into Rio Hatate. He's got 2 men round him. He's got the vision to see that there's a run round the outside. He just flicks it with the outside of his right boot into the path of Palmer, who fires it across. There is a touch, I think, from a Hearts player as it comes in. But that man Kyogo, he's alert and makes no mistake. From about 8 yards out, you're right, it's game over now. The only worry for Hearts would be, what is the score actually going to finish? Because Celtic look in the mood to score goals.
Well, they are almost certainly now heading back to 7 points clear at the top of the Premiership, and it does mean that Kyogo has now scored in 8 consecutive appearances against Hearts. The first player since Rangers' Mark Haitley did so between 93 and 94, and he has wrapped up the points all but certainly for Celtic now. Goals from Kyogo, Dyson Maida, and that sumptuous strike from Matt O'Reilly, making it 3-0. And the Celtic fans, even though they are small in number, are loud in voice at the moment, enjoying themselves in the sunshine at Tynecastle, and it already has the sense of a damage limitation job for Hearts at the moment. Stephen Naismith looks on from the dugout. Now there's a collision off the ball. Forrest has been accused of something, but referee quickly across to check that Taylor and Forrest are okay, and indeed they are.
Yeah, it's just the ball's in the air, it's a challenge, and I think Alan Forrest just comes into Greg Taylor slightly, nothing in it, not enough, you know, he's not trying to hurt him, he's just trying to challenge for the ball. But again, you know, the way that Celtic move the ball, the speed in which they attack, and it's not only the speed of the passing, it's the movement and the decision making. When the ball comes to Palmer, it's Hatate that's flicked the ball round the corner almost behind him, but he's the one that then makes the run that almost finds him in the box. And who else is there? Matt O'Reilly. 2 midfielders getting up in support, and then Kyogo when it comes to him. It's a really cool finish with the left foot, and that's what I said before the game. He doesn't have to do a lot in the game, but if he gets a chance, he normally takes it.
And now Celtic coming firing forwards on the left again with Palmer, who's held up briefly, Lewis Palmer, and then actually dispossessed, and Sibic can make the clearance, and Hearts will have the ball. The only thing that might help Hearts here is Celtic have got a Champions League game on the horizon. They host Atletico Madrid on Wednesday, looking to get their first points on the board in the section as well, so Brendan Rodgers might look to take off some of his big hitters with that in mind, and we will have full commentary of a couple of Champions League matches for you on 5 Live on Tuesday. Manchester United against Copenhagen, and then the day after that Newcastle against Borussia Dortmund. But perhaps he might feel with the game one, Brendan Rodgers, that he can withdraw some of his more important players, which might spare Hearts.
Yeah, the flip side of that, they do have a big game. They have a lot of big games coming up, and it gives an opportunity for someone to come off the bench and impress the manager. If he makes changes, yeah, you're going to lose that quality that's on the pitch, but you're going to get hungry players coming on that can see that there's opportunities to get goals. So yeah, I like your thinking, I like your concern for Hearts, but I'm not so sure it works that way.
Palmer with a ball into the area for Dyson Maida, who got up ever so well to try and get something on the angled ball in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, and his header looped over the top and behind for a goal kick. But James is right, they don't look like they're in any mood to let up and just coast to victory here, Celtic.
They won't, because they're continually getting opportunities to exploit Hearts. And you know, I love that you're trying to make Hearts feel a little bit better by saying if they make changes, which is great, but these players on the pitch have got a chance to do something about it now. They can't wait and hope that Celtic take their foot off the gas. They have to show a bit of fight. They have to show that they believe they can go and score a goal and put Celtic on the back foot. And unfortunately, since the first 5 or 10 minutes, we've seen nothing to suggest that they're able to do that.
The flip side, I guess, is whether Stephen Naismith might be looking at making some changes to try and alter the way that his side are playing, rather than hoping that Celtic might take their foot off the gas. There's a Maida darting infield about 10 yards outside the Hearts penalty area, and then Hatate plays it down the line, looking for the overlapping run of Johnston from full-back, and he has kept it in and has possession now, wide on that right side, and a clever pass infield, and there could be another here, and it's narrowly wide from Hatate. Well, that could have been number 4, and don't forget Celtic have missed a penalty already as well.
Yeah, and you know, it's Celtic just cutting Hearts open. It's that gap in between left centre back and left back, and it's Alistair Johnston. He thinks there's a challenge coming, so he lets it run and almost has to run round the ball to keep it in, which he does. And then it's the interplay from Matt O'Reilly and Hatate again. The two of them have been outstanding, really have. The understanding they have with each other. And he plays another little defence splitting pass into Hatate. He drops his shoulder, drags it onto the left and fires it wide. But Celtic look like they're hungry for goals. They want more. Hearts have to show that the bare minimum that they're up for the fight. And at the minute, it doesn't look like they are.
Rangers thumped Edinburgh opposition yesterday, and Celtic in a very healthy position against a club from Edinburgh as well today. 3-0 they lead. Hearts with just over 10 minutes gone in the second half. They're into the second half in the WSL as well, between Chelsea and Brighton. Becky Ives.
Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. Brighton have had some chances. A dangerous cross from Casey Robinson, low and hard, and Katrin Berger in the Chelsea net threw herself across goal. But Niamh Charles got a crucial toe to it to play down. And as I say that, Chelsea have just put the ball in the back of the net. Chelsea 3, Brighton 1.
And it's now 12-all between England and Tonga in the first test. You can see that Rugby League International live on BBC One right now. There is going to be a double change here for Hearts, and it's Lowry who's one of those who is going off, and Bangin Begin is also coming on, and Yutaro Oda is the other introduced. Just waiting to see who is heading off as well. And it is Callum Nieuwenhof, who's not had the best of afternoons, arguably at fault for the second goal.
Yeah, it's been a tough shift in there. Beningame comes on, missed a large part of last season, played an earlier round of the Europa playoff game, and he looked as if he was quite way off of fitness. So, you know, hopefully he's shown a bit more fitness today. It's a tough game to come on in that midfield area. We spoke about Matt O'Reilly and Rio Hatate and the runs they've made off the ball.
Well, the yellow card's now flowing from the referee, and it's Toby Sibic who's picked up the latest caution. 2 in quick succession for Hearts players there, and fans just behind us are making their feelings very clear towards the referee. Celtic dominant, and 3-0 up as they play it from right to left and collected on that far side by Johnston, and they'll go all the way back to Carter Vickers, and they've got Hearts right where they want them, just knocking the ball around. Hearts chasing shadows in what is a pitch that is increasingly covered in shadows as the sun starts to ebb away over Tynecastle, and Hearts' hopes of getting something from the game ebbed away a fair while ago. McGregor for Celtic then knocks it wide to the left, just over halfway. Taylor, low flat ball. It's another heavy challenge from behind. This time Cammy Devlin has made the tackle, and again the fans around us on their feet as they berate the referee. Celtic come forwards, low ball in towards Maida, who's waiting in the middle, nearly came his way. Still alive for Celtic just outside the penalty area. McGregor has recycled it well, and it's collected by Taylor on the left flank. Enjoying themselves now, Celtic 3-0 up with an hour played, and Carter Vickers will collect it on the halfway line as they recycle and start again from a deep position. Lovely knock round the corner from Kyogo, and then rebound works out favourably for the home side. It's brought forwards by the recently arrived Yutara Oda, and he's then clattered on halfway by Taylor. Here is the Hearts skipper Shanklin playing it forwards, and now a free kick has been awarded Hearts way, which the fans feel is very, very much overdue.
Yeah, it is. You know, Oda does really well to win the ball back, and under immense pressure from Maida and Hatate, but he allows play to go on the referee. No advantage for Hearts, so he brings it back, and just on that shadow, I can't wait for it to cover our faces so that we can actually see what's happening. Yeah, it is a bit of a nightmare at the moment as we try to peer out straight into the sun and make out what is happening down towards that Hearts goal, which is the one that is being peppered with most of the action. Anyway, half-time in the Rugby League. Richard Stead.
Yeah, teams have gone down the tunnel, 12 points apiece, 2 tries apiece as well. King and Lewis for England, for Tonga, Toa and Frizzell. The difference has been the boot, really, and also the discipline, because Tonga could have led if a penalty on the stroke of half-time had been kicked by Katoa. He'd already levelled things up on the 35th minute with a penalty. As it is, 2 missed chances for Tonga to be in front. It's all square at half-time, 12 each.
Thanks very much for that, Richard. As I say, that's live on BBC One right now, and coming up here on 5 Live later, Villa against West Ham, then 6:06, and after that, full commentary of the US Grand Prix with Charles Leclerc in his Ferrari on pole position for that. Celtic leading 3-0 on what is a gorgeous day for football here in Edinburgh, and just taking the sting out of the game now. It's gone down to a bit of a canter for them. Still no changes from Brendan Rodgers though, with just over an hour gone.
Yeah, I don't know, normally does make some changes. In the last few weeks he's actually changed Cameron Carter-Vickers, and if it's Nat Phillips that's been playing, he's made the change and taken Nat Phillips off on the hour mark. But I think that you can see that his players are enjoying themselves, enjoying the game, enjoying the performance. I suspect the changes will be coming in the next 5 or 10 minutes though.
Now Hearts with a rare foray down towards Celtic territory, but it breaks down very quickly, and Hatate can come forwards now for the men in green and white. But just as Palmer was trying to play a pass, he was crowded out and down the right side for Hearts, but it breaks down as Cammy Devlin tried to get the ball into the penalty area, and Brendan Rodgers, almost bang on cue, seems to be in conversation with coaching staff and substitutes on the maroon bench just down in front of us, and still continues to chunter as well. And James Forrest has been called back and looks like he's about to be introduced.
Yeah, I think that, you know, Louis Palmer, when he picks the ball up in the halfway line, he's got a chance to go and drive forward. He's got a chance to play inside. He tries a little trick, and maybe Brendan's thought it's time for him to come off and get someone else on that wants to run and wants to score goals. Not saying that he doesn't.
Tyson Maida with a quick, crisp counter-attack again for Celtic. Tried to poke it infield for Vargas, and it might break for him now as well. It's come to the edge of the area. Hatate shooting chance, has a go, it's blocked, and then Hatate falls to his knees in the D of the area. But all of a sudden it's now an opportunity for Hearts on the counter. Oda has just gone over the centre circle in the Celtic half of the pitch. A little bit ponderous in possession. Now offloads to Alan Forrest. Forrest is stood up well by an excellent challenge from Vargas, who has the chance to run it away, but knocks it infield to Rio Hatate. Controls it nicely in those orange boots of his, and finds McGregor, the Celtic captain, and then Celtic just take the sting out of it again and knock it around just in front of their own penalty area. It's given away though, and Shankland has a chance to have a dip from distance. Good save from Joe Hart, got across and palmed it away. It wasn't the most taxing of stops for Joe Hart, but still needed dealing with, and Hart's trying to keep up the pressure at the moment after, as I say, an all too rare moment of note down towards that end, and Shankland's gone for goal and scored. Lawrence Shankland on the swivel has finally got another goal to his name. Well, his personal drought has come to an end, and finally something for the home fans to cheer about. Lovely swivel and hit. Hart might be a bit disappointed, but Hearts have made it 3-1.
Oh, it's a magnificent finish from Lawrence Shankland. A shot a few seconds ago, but this one, he's back to goal. The ball's coming across his body. I think he's just on the edge of the 18-yard box, and it's the speed in which he hits it. You know, he just turned and hit in off the post as well. He starts outside the post, comes right back in, just clips the post. Joe Hart, for me, absolutely no chance of saving it. It's not the most powerful strike, but it's a perfect direction, and the speed in which Shankland takes a shot. It's a magnificent finish. He's had nothing to feed off all day, but that is a brilliant goal from Lawrence Shankland.
Well, Hearts with a goal, and Celtic are making some changes. We'll tell you about them in a minute. Let's get the team news first of all from Aston Villa against West Ham from Ali Bruce Ball.
Thanks, Mark. Kicks off at 4:30. Team news pretty simple, actually. West Ham are unchanged after their 2-2 draw against Newcastle at home before the international break. Just the one change for Aston Villa. Nicolo Zaniolo, the Italian. Unai Emery has clearly decided he's fully focused and ready to go, despite the off-field distractions of having to help the Italian authorities with their investigations into alleged illegal gambling. He comes into the Aston Villa team. Diego Carlos drops out, so Matty Cash will play right back, and Ezri Konsa as the right-sided centre-back.
Thank you very much, Ali. Ali's alongside Clinton Morrison for full commentary of that game from 4:30 here at Tynecastle. Is there just a glimmer for Hearts? Those changes, by the way, that Celtic have made. Lewis Palmer and Rio Hatate have gone off. Iwata and James Forrest on for the champions. It's inside the Hearts half at the moment, and can they build on that really good finish from Lawrence Shankland? Not the type of finish you'd expect from someone who has been struggling for goals so badly, but showing the kind of clinical ability that got him so many goals last season in the Premiership.
Yeah, I mean, it's a striker's goal. It's the instinct to just get the thumb, knows exactly where the goal is, and it's a really composed finish. But I think Oda coming on for Hearts has given them a real lift, given them an injection of energy, a willingness to go and run and try and create something. I think he's been a real positive since coming on.
Well, they've certainly got the bit between their teeth at the moment, Hearts. Midway through the second half, trailing Celtic now by 3-1, and urged on by the home fans who have found their voice after it was plenty of groans and moans. It's more encouragement for those in maroon at the moment, as it's picked up by Alan Forrest in towards the centre circle. And now it was attempted to be played out wide by Devlin. They felt there was a handball in there. Referee didn't, and all of a sudden Kyogo was nearly able to latch onto a loose ball in the centre circle, but it's been tidied up nicely, and there is a surge from the stands at the moment of belief that they might be able to make a fist of this. In field it goes for Sibik, and now worked wide to Yutara Oda, who, as James was saying, has made a bit of a difference, but has actually made a bit of a mess of that one because he's miscontrolled it, and it's out for a Celtic goal kick, which Joe Hart has taken quickly in towards McGregor. Now he finds the flat ball to James Forrest down the line, and that's a good turn and go by James Forrest, who's motoring towards the edge of the area. Still going, James Forrest looked to try and get the shot away, got a deflection. It'll be a corner for Celtic.
That's brilliant from James Forrest, coming off that left hand side, takes a little touch with the inside of his right. Toby Sibbick steps inside, he just quickly flicks it with the outside of his right in such speed, and then drives forward. I think he's looking for Kyogo initially, then the more it gets closer to the goal, he's thinking about the shot. The passes to Maida on his right hand side, but real positive run from James Forrest.
So it's down at the Gorgie stand end of the ground, where the sun is still peering out, making it very difficult to make out what's going on down in that penalty area. We do know it's definitely a corner that swung into a good area, well defended as well by Rolls, and needed to get the touch to that because there were 3 or 4 green and white hoop shirts that were waiting to tuck it away from close range. Still keep it going though. Iwata, who's just come on, sends it wide to the right. options in the centre. The cross comes in, and eventually it's cleared away to around about 10 yards outside the penalty area. Another goal in the WSL for Becky Ives at Chelsea against Brighton.
It's Chelsea 4, Brighton 1. Aggie Beaver-Jones, the substitute. I think it was basically a first touch on the ball, swept it into the bottom corner. Chelsea look to be having fun out there now. Chelsea 4, Brighton 1.
So Chelsea on course for a big win after Manchester United thumped Everton earlier on today. All the goals, all the action from the weekend in the WSL on the Women's Football Show, 11:10 on BBC One and the iPlayer as well. Maida for Celtic, their lead reduced to 3-1 with just a touch over 20 minutes of the 90 left to play at Tynecastle. In field he goes to Iwata, one of the two subs that Brendan Rodgers brought on a short time ago. And good tracking back by Alex Cochrane in that left back position for Hearts, because there were two Celtic players trying to double up on him, and Devlin now tries to work it out from that left back area. Looked like a foul over there. Referees played the advantage. Can Hearts turn it into one? Lawrence Shanklin, the skipper who scored the goal that made it 3-1 to Celtic, has found a teammate over on that left hand side, and the ball then rebounds favourably to Yatara Oda, who's about 5 yards outside the Celtic box, but with his back to goal has now been forced further backwards, and they begin on the halfway line once again, Hearts.
Yeah, it was decent play, particularly from Lawrence Shanklin. He's down in the left back area for Hearts. He managed to wriggle out. I think he's got a chance to play that ball in behind quicker. For Alan Forrest, just delays a little bit, which makes him come inside, forces him inside. But Hearts have managed to get the ball in the areas they want. You know, the defenders are on the halfway line. They've got players in advanced positions in and around the Celtic box. They have possession of the ball. It is much better from Hearts.
And Hearts are building once again. It's Vargas on the right side. It might open up for the hit from distance, and Alan Forrest chanced his arm. A bit of a dribble. It didn't really catch it cleanly, and it was a comfortable save for Joe Hart, but they've had more shots on goal in the last 10 minutes than they did in the entirety of the game beforehand.
Yeah, they have, and Alan Forrest scored one not so long ago. I think it was last time out. Cutting in off the right hand side, catching it with his left foot, and it went right into the top corner. So can understand why he's taking that shot on. Just in this occasion he didn't manage to catch it as clean as he would like, but he's still forcing a save out of Joe Hart.
Cammy Devlin has been penalised for a challenge on Kyogo, which the home fans feel was very, very soft indeed. And there have been a number of decisions from Nick Walsh that have been heavily questioned, shall we say, by the Hearts faithful.
As you would expect.
And another double change forthcoming from Brendan Rodgers. We're going to see Yang come on, and the other change is O also being introduced as well. So coming off is Kyogo, who was just flattened in that exchange. O is going to step in for him, and it's Dyson Maida who scored the second goal, who looks like he's being withdrawn here as well.
Yeah, Maida had a knock in international duty, and I think that a few people were possibly expecting him to miss this game. And he certainly had an impression on the game, so no surprise that he's going to come off, and Yang coming on. He showed a lot of promise without really being able to put in that real strong performance, but young players that are given an opportunity, and O is the same. You know, he's one that has to come on, and he'll be desperate to get a goal.
And Hearts making another change as well. Ken Vargas has departed, and Liam Boyce is on for him as well, so that might just beef up their sort of forcefulness up front as well.
Yeah, without doubt. You know, Liam Boyce is very different type of player to Vargas. Vargas all about pace and trying to get in behind. Boyce will hold the ball up, he'll bring others into play. You have Alan Forrest and Oda there with the pace that can get in behind, and obviously you get Lawrence Shanklin in support of him as well. So it's just a different option.
Hearts trailing by 3-1. 18 minutes of the 90 left to play. Alan Forrest with nowhere to go, has to go all the way back to the edge of his own area, now ballooned forwards and scales underneath it for Celtic, and Rolls able to stick out a boot as the ball came forwards. Boyce, who's just come on, has sent it wide to Cochrane, who had to scamper across to the left hand side to keep it in, tried to feed it down the line for Yatara Oda, couldn't quite find him, and it's back with Joe Hart in the Celtic goal. Plays it out from the back to Liam Scales. Scales closed down quickly, and that's a bit more like it from a Hearts perspective. It was the skipper Shanklin who was doing the closing down.
Yeah, it was, and when the ball comes to Oda, he lets it through his legs. He's trying to trick Alistair Johnson, but he's onto it. and he puts it back to Joe Hart, but Hearts don't then retreat, they then squeeze up. So although they don't manage to keep the ball, it gives it a position where they can go and press and force mistakes and win the ball higher up the pitch. I mean, if you're watching a game, you're thinking, well, he's lost the ball and okay, it's a block, but Celtic still have it. But it's allowing Hearts to squeeze up the pitch where they can get their better players involved in the game, and where it's better and easier to take risks. If you're playing a forward pass to beat the back line or in and around the box, and it's easier to take that risk because you know that you've got players behind the ball that can then, you know, give you the opportunity to win it back. If you're taking those risks on the halfway line or 10-15 yards inside your own half, Celtic are right on you, and then you're inviting pressure onto your defence.
Celtic's next game is in the Champions League on Wednesday with Atletico Madrid coming to Glasgow, and we've got full commentary of a couple of Champions League games for you next week as well. On Tuesday it's Manchester United against Copenhagen, and the day after that Newcastle against Borussia Dortmund, as Carter Vickers clears from the edge of his own area but can't find a teammate, so it's Frankie Kent for Hearts, who real up and under there, which bounces inside the centre circle. Boyce couldn't bring it under his spell, and then there's a foul awarded against Iwata, which the fans around us enjoy, and it's taken quickly, and we're back underway with Rolls sending it forwards. We've had another goal in the game between Chelsea and Brighton in the WSL. Has it gone Chelsea's way again, Becky Ives?
It has not. Do we have late drama? Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. Possibly a consolation goal. Elizabeth Turland latched onto a ball from the midfield, managed to sweep it home. We are into the last 4 minutes of additional time here. Chelsea 4, Brighton 2.
And two form teams at the Cricket World Cup were meeting today in India and New Zealand. What's the latest from Dan Norcross?
India 135 for 3. They've just lost Shreyas Iyer, who was caught by Conway off Bolt for 33. KL Rahul's come to join Virat Kohli, who's a master of the chase. They should still have it under control. They need 139 from 156 balls, but it's getting a little bit more testing. India 135 for 3.
Thanks, Dan. Glad that they got back underway. We heard from Henry earlier talking about the cloud that had emerged over the cricket there as well. No clouds in the sky here. The sun continues to beat down. Blue skies overhead with 15 minutes of action left, and Celtic leading here by 3-1. If nothing else, Hearts have at least shown some fight and some spirit in this second half.
Yeah, they have, and I think you were right in saying about, you know, the changes for all their good players and quality players Celtic brought on. It's kind of taken that impetus, that attacking threat away from them, because they've made so many changes. And Hearts, you know, positive changes by Stephen Naismith. Oda has come on and looked bright and made a difference. Beningham's brought a bit of control to the midfield. You get Liam Boyce in there as well. If you can get Liam Boyce on the ball, in and around the box, he will get a shot at goal, or he will create an opportunity. He will cause problems. So yeah, it has been a lot better from Hearts. Having said that, it wouldn't have taken much to be better than the first half, because it was really, really poor.
Yeah, it could have got messy for them, you felt, but in the end they've made it competitive at the very least as well. Hearts were beaten 4-3 in October of last year. Can they set up a grandstand finish in this encounter against Celtic with a goal to make it 3-2? They have it wide left with Yotaro Oda. 13 minutes of the 90 left to play. Carter Vickers has leapt in with a challenge. Referee making it clear that he's playing the advantage, so it's come across to this near side. Sibic has the chance to get the ball in, which he's done. Shooting opportunity. What's that? A handball in there. Ball goes over the bar anyway. Well, VAR will certainly have a look at this, because the arm seemed to be slightly outstretched from Liam Scales, and Hearts were very quick to appeal. They nearly put the ball in the net anyway.
They did. It was excellent, really good play. You know, you mentioned the challenge from Carter Vickers on Alan Forrest. He stays on his feet, they work it wide, and when it comes out wide to Toby Sibic on the right hand side, it looks like he's going to cross it into the box and put it in the air. He doesn't. He rolls it into the feet of Shanklin, who's holding off Liam Scales, I think it is. He just sets it for Alan Forrest, who is probably just outside him a little bit, but he still manages to get his shot on target. I have to say, it looked to me as if it came off his back or his backside, but then even it drops to Shanklin, who's on the ground, and he almost gets it beyond Joe Hart. It's really good play from Hearts. It's the best they've shown this afternoon.
Well, they had a very quick look at it, VAR, and decided nothing in it, so no inspection as to whether Hearts were going to get a penalty. But again, it was something for them to latch onto, and if that had got in, well, what a finish it could have been. And again, it's down the right with Alan Forrest, who's managed to recycle it to centre field. Now it's been coughed up though, and Celtic have the opportunity to try and build, but they've lost their way a bit, just as Hearts have fought their way back into it. Celtic's passing not as crisp. Having said that, Iwata brings it forwards, options left and right, goes to James Forrest. James Forrest looking for the angle to get the shot in, cut off well by Toby Sibbick, who stuck out a boot, and it is away to relative safety as far as Hearts are concerned. But now they've been caught out with the ball round the back, knocked in towards the edge of the area. The first time hit is shielded away to safety by Rolls, who readjusted really well. I think he may have taken that where it hurts with the way that he blocked it, but it did the job to prevent Celtic getting a fourth.
Yeah, it did. They've just angered Celtic, haven't they, Hearts, with that little attempt, that little bit of play. Celtic winning the ball back. It's that run we're so used to seeing, the full back making the overlap, the inside channel pass, and Hearts defend it well.
Ball from the left is cleared half away, and now Celtic having to defend themselves as it's lumped towards the centre circle. Collected in that centre circle by Johnston. Johnston's ping ball towards the right flank is anticipated well by Cochrane, who feels that he was fouled, and the decision has gone his way, although it's a throw rather than a free kick, and a quick throw he's taken as well. Hurled down the line for Shanklin to chase. Shanklin, was he buffeted off the ball there? Referee saw nothing wrong with it, but Shanklin's got to his feet and got the ball back, and at the edge of the area again is absolutely convinced that he's been dragged back. So are the fans as well. They're sure that should have been a free kick just outside the box for Hearts. Nothing given, and Celtic come forwards with McGregor instead. McGregor spins it into the feet of James Forrest. Danger here. James Forrest ball in is not fully cleared. Chance to settle it once and for all here. Good save by Xander Clark down low to make the block, but Celtic not finished yet, and that does finish off the game. Bent into the top corner by Iwata. It fell invitingly for the substitute, who arrowed a first-time strike in off the underside of the bar. Celtic lead by 4-1 and are going 7 points clear at the top.
Well, unlike Maida's, which was an untidy finish off the back of a brilliant move, this is an incredible finish off of some scrappy play. Starting with O, I think his shot at goal potentially could have come off a hand, whether it was by his side or not. Kai Rolls, but when it drops to Yang in the edge of the box, he makes no mistake. Left foot, top corner, in off the underside of the bar, and you have to say, for Hearts' little rally there, it's game over now.
Well, George Grant is about to be brought on for Hearts here, but it is a lost cause for them now, trailing by 4-1. It was a very good rally from Hearts, but in the end they have fallen short. Chelsea, I don't think, have fallen short in the WSL though, Becky Ives.
They certainly have not. Chelsea 4, Brighton 2. Brighton actually started the stronger. Pauline Bremer getting them ahead within 10 minutes, but then the Chelsea pressure grew. Nuskin's head found the end of a Jess Carter cross for the equaliser right on the stroke of half-time. Not long into the second half, she added herself a second, a really composed finish off a cross from Sam Kerr. 75 minutes, she thought she got a hat-trick. Unfortunately, it's gone down as a Brighton own goal. Aggie Beaver-Jones, the substitute, adding a fourth on the 85th minute. A consolation goal for Elizabeth Turley in the 92nd meant that Chelsea take the 3 points. They go second in the table on goal difference, remain unbeaten. Brighton, it's the third defeat on the bounce, but there were definitely some moments of encouragement. But finished here, Chelsea 4, Brighton 2.
Thanks very much, Becky. 4-1 to Celtic here at Tynecastle, and Callum McGregor, the skipper, has just been withdrawn by Brendan Rodgers, and Paolo Bernardo has come on for him for the closing stages. But the points are in the bag now, and Celtic can relax after being given maybe just a minor scare by Shanklin's goal, and then that flurry of half chances that Hearts created. But the champions have got back control of this game, although they've lost control of the ball in the middle of midfield, tidied up by Iwata, who produced that very tidy finish.
I must apologise to Iwata. I thought it was Yang because he was coming off that right hand side with his left foot. It's an incredible finish from Iwata because he bends it with so much power. It's so controlled, it's not a slash, it's really composed, and it's a tremendous finish. And we've spoken about Hatate and O'Reilly getting in advanced areas and scoring goals from midfield. Well, that's another midfielder with a goal for Celtic, and it's a tremendous finish from Tomoki Iwata.
Utara Oda for Hearts, and it's the Celtic fans, that small congregation of them, away to our right side in the Rosebank stand, who seem to have been very fortunate with the way that the sun has fallen, because they are the only set of supporters that are bathed in sunshine still here at Tynecastle, as Shanklin collects by the byline for Hearts, looking to try and swivel and find a teammate, gets to the byline, it's done really well, and then Joe Hart was in position to make the block, and it came back out to Oda, whose effort was wide, but the flag goes up anyway. But that goal, I think, if you're looking for crumbs of comfort from a Hearts perspective, has given Lawrence Shankland a bit of a swagger. He looks a bit more confident and a bit more like he can pose a danger.
Yeah, he does. And also, I think, bringing Liam Boyce into the action as well, because Liam Boyce and Lawrence Shankland have a really good understanding of when one can go forward, the other one drops in. But yeah, I think Lawrence Shankland's needed that goal. He's had a lot of disappointment not being able to score as many goals this season, and also dropping out of the Scotland squad just as Scotland qualify for the Euros. So yeah, hopefully that gives him a lift and he can get back on the goal trail, because he is a tremendous football player. He's a brilliant finisher, and hopefully that gives him the lift that he needs to go on a run of scoring goals.
It's only going to be a one winner here between Celtic and Hearts, but what about in the first test between England and Tonga? Richard said.
Still 12 points apiece, 10 minutes gone since half-time. Minor disagreement between the two sets of players, just away to my right at the moment. Kola Matangi with the best chance for Tonga in the second half, fumbled while under pressure, and a half chance for Tom Johnston at the other end, but no change to the score after 40 minutes. It's 12 points apiece.
Here, a super save by Zander Clark has prevented a fifth goal for Celtic, although the flag has now been raised, has it? No, it's going to be a corner kick for Celtic. That was some stop by Clark.
Tremendous break again down this left hand side. Ball's fired out to James Forrest. It's bouncing, he takes a brilliant first touch in the left foot and just fires it across, and O's making up the ground, and it looks like he's going to put the ball in the back of the net. Catches Zander Clark, probably off balance a little bit, he has to step back to his right, and he gets a big strong hand to it. It's a tremendous save from him.
Corner kick then for Celtic, leading by 4-1 and looking to add some further gloss to the scoreline. 10 wins in a row in all competitions for them against Hearts. Only the third time that they have achieved that against Hearts. And they're looking to get another here, as it was weaved and played in beautifully for Yang to try and cross from the left, but in the end they had enough bodies back there.
It's going to be a long 5 minutes for Hearts, because Celtic are in the mood to get another goal. Great switch of play from Bernardo, great little band to play James Forrest and Matt O'Reilly, another little flick round the corner, and it's good defending, because that is a dangerous cross.
Corner kick then, O'Reilly will take it, left-footed out swinger towards the penalty spot. Carter Vickers rises, unable to get the touch on it, will be played back in eventually. They feinted to make the cross. Carter Vickers then gets out of the way, goes back to Johnston just by the centre circle, clips it over the top, and that's a waste, and bounces through for a goal kick, which Zander Clark will go across to take at his leisure. The Celtic fans on their feet and applauding. They'll be hoping they can transfer this kind of performance into the Champions League. Tougher test, of course, against Atletico Madrid, but I think you were saying earlier, weren't you, to Crossy, about the fact that is where Celtic are really judged, how they do in the Champions League.
Yeah, it's something that has been a disappointment for Celtic over the years. The European form, particularly in the Champions League, it's going to be tough. It's a game that they have to win if they want to keep their hopes alive, and it will be. I don't think the only tougher test would be away to Atletico Madrid. At least it's at home, but they're in a good place at the minute, Celtic. They're playing good football. They were unlucky against Lazio in the previous round of fixtures, so it's something that they'll be looking forward to. Of course, winning the game as comfortably as what they have done today will help them. I think James Forrest has come on and really made an impact in the game. Iwata obviously getting his goal, but the form of Hatate, McGregor and O'Reilly will give them great confidence going into the game that they can create opportunities against Atletico Madrid, and it's a game that I'm looking forward to, so I can only imagine how much the players are looking forward to it.
Yeah, the Champions League back next week, and we'll have commentary of Manchester United against Copenhagen on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday Borussia Dortmund go to Newcastle. Two crackers there. Manchester United, of course, under the pump after the way that their Champions League campaign has started. It is Hearts in possession on halfway, looking to try and maybe grab a consolation. 4-1 down, 2 minutes of the 90 remaining. I don't think that Nick Walsh is going to get a warm hand from the Hearts fans when he makes his way off the pitch to the referee.
They never do. I've never seen a referee being given a warm hand off of any set of supporters. It's a tough job for them. I think he's done well today, Nick Walsh.
Free kick for Hearts then. 90 seconds of the 90 minutes left to play at Tynecastle. Celtic have shown the right mix of everything, some real quality, but they've dug in and shown game know-how as much as the pretty stuff, as James Forrest picks it up just on the halfway line. Oda was closing him down. Infield it goes from Greg Taylor. And as James was saying, I think it's a fair point that those players that have come on are hungry to try and make an impact, and certainly James Forrest has looked like that.
Yeah, he has done. I think that for Celtic in general, the way they set up, there is one spot that is yet to be grabbed by any player, and it's that wide area, whether it's off the left or the right. Luis Palma has a jersey at the minute, but he hasn't played a whole lot of games, so that spot's up for grabs. I think James Forrest has come on and done really well and been that threat in behind, creating opportunities, and probably been reinvigorated by the fact that Brendan Rodgers come back to the club.
Ball looped in by Greg Taylor, which is only half cleared, and then Cochrane got himself in a bit of a muddle. In fact, it was rolls across there, and Hearts do eventually clear their lines. It's up towards Liam Boyce, who came on when there was still a bit of wind in the sails of Hearts, but he's not really been able to do anything more after that fourth goal that effectively killed it off once and for all.
No, I mean, he showed a great reaction coming on, and I mean, we're used to seeing Liam Boyce getting on the ball, being creative, but he's come on and he's helped out his midfield because he's pressing, from the other side, if you like, from behind the midfield to win the ball back, and the chances that Hearts have managed to create, he's been a big part of that. But it was just too little too late for Hearts. The game was probably already gone by that point.
Here is Yutaro Oda into the area for Hearts. Angles tight, goes for it and goes into the side netting. Good positive play though from Yutaro Oda, who beat his man, and then from the right side of the area tried to arrow it goalwards, but the angle always favoured Joe Hart.
It did, and I think he had better options inside. As soon as he goes that wide, he's almost going away from goal to try and cut across. The only place he can really hit it's the near post. The option of Boyce and Shankland in the box, and as soon as the shot was hit, Shankland's screaming at him because he's available in the middle, and that is Yutaro Oda. I think he's a very good player. The final decision is the thing that he has to improve upon. Lawrence Shankland certainly letting him know that he shouldn't be taking the shot, and listen, having been in that position as a wide man, if you take that shot you have to score, because if you don't score you're getting an earful off your striker.
I knew that you'd have some sage words about that kind of situation. We're into the 4 additional minutes that were signalled, about a minute or so into it. They're deep into the game in St Helens at the moment between England and Tonga in the first test. Richard Stead?
Yeah, England have gone over again. German-born Wakefield raised, plying his trade in the south of France. Tom Johnston scoring his second appearance 5 years after his first, set up beautifully by the skipper Jack Wellsby with a cut-out pass. We're awaiting the conversion. England lead 16-12.
And that's live on BBC One right now. Coming up after this, full commentary of Aston Villa against West Ham with Ali Bruce Ball and Clinton Morrison. 6:06 is after that, and then we will have commentary of the US Grand Prix as well for you on 5 Live 2. Well, coming together in the centre circle, and Iwata, who scored that fine goal, has made the challenge, which is going to see him pick up a yellow card. And aside from the goal scored by Lawrence Shankland, that is the biggest roar from the home fans this afternoon.
And again, it's the correct decision from Nick Walsh. Iwata, no intent to play the ball, he's just stopping that attack from Frankie Kent. Great run from him. Correct decision again.
Well, it was 4-3 to Celtic in game last October between the sides. Can Hearts make it 4-2 late on here? No, not from that particular free kick, as it's lobbed into the area, and Joe Hart comes to make a safe gather. 90 seconds of stoppage time remaining. Brendan Rodgers continues to prowl his technical area. What do you think he'd have made of this performance?
Yeah, I think he would be happy with some of his attacking play, because when they've gone forward, when they've got it right, they've looked really dangerous. I think he'll be happy with the impact that his subs have made, and showing that he's got real strength and depth, which I'm sure he would have known anyway. And it's given him a problem or something to think about with the performance of James Forrest since he came on. I think he's been excellent.
Ball whipped in from the left for Hearts. Carter Vickers underneath it, and can't get it too far away, so it's going to be picked up by Rolls, and they'll recycle again here, Hearts. But we've just got seconds left to play. and there are not too many home fans left inside of Tynecastle at the moment, especially down at the end behind Joe Hart's goal, the Rosebank stand, where there are Celtic supporters on their feet and ready to toast another victory, a victory that will put them back to 7 points clear at the top after Rangers' victory briefly cut the deficit to 4 points, and still just the one game that they would have dropped points in so far this season for them, and they've still not trailed in a game in the Premiership this season either. Free kick which won't be taken because the whistle is blown by Nick Walsh. Some groans from the home fans. They might be directed towards the referee and their players for some of the performance across the afternoon, but Celtic have got the job done in emphatic fashion in the end. A couple of really well taken goals, one pretty untidy one that Maida stuck away as well, but one that will stick in the memory, Matt O'Reilly's early opener, and then Kyogo with a close range finish, and another smart strike from Iwata sealing the game after Lawrence Shankland had briefly given Hearts a glimmer. But Celtic, very good value for their victory here, Steve. Full time, Hearts 1, Celtic 4.
James, it can be hard sometimes because we all know what a good side Celtic are, but you could hear how frustrated the Hearts fans were with the efforts of Hearts in that game. Did they give enough of themselves? Did they leave it all out there today?
No, not for me. I think that when they were 3-0 down, you saw a reaction. I think the subs had a positive impact to an extent for Hearts, but I think that they were a bit safe in the first half. First 5-10 minutes, I know they go behind early. They showed an intent to get down the sides and get in behind Celtic without showing any real quality, without being able to test Joe Hart. And there was a reaction, but when you're 3-0 down, it's easy to go and run about and take the ball. I don't think Hearts have shown enough on the pitch today. You see that with the crowd. This is normally an unbelievable atmosphere in here, really hostile. It wasn't like that today. A few boos here and there, mostly the referee for some decisions where I think he got them right, and then the place was empty at the end. So no, I don't think Hearts have shown themselves in a good light today, but Celtic were excellent. There's no answer for Celtic when they were going forward. The pace and how decisive they were and how creative they were in the right areas. Celtic fully deserved, but I think Hearts will be disappointed with the showing they've put up today.
Could have been more for Celtic. Certainly you go 7 points clear at the top of the Scottish Premiership. Thank you very much, guys. James McFadden and Mark Scott at Tynecastle, where Celtic beat Hearts comfortably in the Scottish Premiership. We'll turn our attentions firmly to Villa Park next. Full commentary of Aston Villa against West Ham United in 20 minutes time. We will be there after the news with Stuart Clarkson.